'Twas 2 weeks before kickoff when all through the pod, all the casters were giddy as though a car had hit A-Rod. The microphones plugged to computers with care in the hopes that Craig would record us with flair. As they took their old seats, turned their cameras on, they knew it was time not to speak of LeBron or Steph or Kawhi or even Bergie or Rask. Football season was upon them, and so their great task. And yes, they will soon start to make such a clatter. Pats, Bears, Cowboys at fault, well, most likely the latter. So here it began like it had done before, the NFL prediction show, because you all wanted more. On Michael, on Mark, on Angelo too, on Ray and on Bobby, to name but a few. On Craig and on David, go put on the show, and lest we forget, someone do wake up Joe. A recurring game show, what is it, the third? Where we guess who is great and who is the turd. And at the end of the year, the scores we will tally. So let us begin, no more dilly-dally. We're missing the point if you haven't yet guessed. And though my rhymes are quite ill, I'll give it a rest. Gentlemen, welcome to the fucking Thunderdome. We're back. It's year 3 of the NFL prediction show.
For a guy that's Irish, that accent sucked.
My English accent?
That was it. Yeah, that was. I was gonna say. Wasn't it?
my English accent that I just did. That was actually fucking perfect, Joe. Like, and by the way, as the host of this show, to make an enemy of me early was a terrible fucking decision.
I'm sorry, man. I am on a.
No. Save your apologies. Moving on. We are here back in the fucking Thunderdome. We're gonna do the third iteration. Like, we're still here doing it. Same teams. NFL prediction show. Break it down for the listeners if you haven't been here before. Everybody's gonna guess. There's 2 teams. There's an AFC team and an NFC team. It's the same 2 people on each team. It has been for the last, I guess, 3 years now, which is crazy. Where does the time go? But we switch conferences every year. This year, we have Mike Marcangelo and Robert Kelly, who are going to be the AFC team. NFC team. And Joe Malkin and Hollywood Ray Buchanan, who are going to be the AFC team, just like it was in the very first year of the first iteration of this prediction show. They're going to guess the records for their respective football conferences. And then at the end of the year, within 2 games, you get a point. And we'll tally it up and see who wins. Who won the last one? I don't even remember.
We won.
Oh, Bobby and Mike are 2-0 now.
Yeah. At the Reno, if you count the playoff draft, I guess that was bonus.
Bobby's trying to get points on technicalities as per usual. That'll be a recurring theme throughout this podcast. But listen, the thing is, they don't get along when we do this. They bite each other's heads off. They yell at each other. Ray and Joe, very amicable, very, very cordial, but fucking losers, I guess. I don't know. You guys need to step your shit up.
You know what? Even blind nuts find a squirrel 2 times in a row.
Not twice.
Yeah.
Listen,
you find 2 nuts, man. You're doing well.
Very clear.
Blind nuts.
It's very clear that you guys have to step your fucking game up because you're losing to fucking Bobby and Mike of all people. So, hey, it's time to begin. And
you got some other opponents.
Yeah, I mean, you still lost to them 0-2. Can I get going with this, Joe, or do you want to should we just keep doing the Dave and Joe show for the rest of the fucking time here? The listeners want to hear about football. They don't want to hear about our interpersonal beefs and rivalries. Those will come through in the subtext. That's what we do here. So, without any further gilding the lily and no more ado, I would like to start with, obviously, the winners, with Mike and Bobby. You guys are now the AFC team again. The NFC team. I keep fucking this up. Mike and Bobby, NFC. Joe and Ray, AFC, right? Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, settled. So we're going to start, unfortunately, just to get it out of the way, with the NFC North. I'd like to hear first, just tell me right off the bat, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll go from 4 to 1 on their records. How's that sound?
It
Sounds great.
I have them in the same order as you, Mike. So go ahead.
Okay, great. So we have Green Bay at 1, Minnesota at 2, Detroit at 3, and those Bears of Chicago in 4.
I don't blame you.
So I think that the Bears have probably the second best quarterback in that division, but they've done nothing to build around him. And I think they've actually pretty much destroyed any chance of him being good this year I think they let Allen Robinson go. They let Khalil Mack and traded him. Akeem Hicks is gone. That team's not going to be good. So Bobby, I think you and I have them both right around the 5-12 marker. Like, that's being generous. That covers us for 3-14. And if the best happens, 7-10. You're not going to dispute that with me, right, Bobby?
No, I mean, yeah, no, that's fine.
All right, Detroit. What do you got for them?
Detroit. So this is one I did have trouble with Detroit, is because I don't know if it's every year I get a little giddy about the Hard Knocks team just because you just watch them in preseason. There's always like feel good stories. I do think Detroit has a chance to surprise people and get closer to 500 than a lot of people expect. I just see like best case 8 and 9. More than likely, I'm thinking 6 and 11 now is where I'm falling for them.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree. Just cover our asses. I think Aiden Hutchinson does a great Billie Jean, but I don't know if that's going to translate to any wins. Minnesota, this team is they are the consummate five. They are like the Cowboys of the North that are always going to be either 8-8 or 9-8, right? I just don't trust Kirk Cousins. So I have them at 9-8 for the year, which again, that feels like that's where they're going to be, Bobby.
Yeah, no, man, this is weird. We're agreeing a lot early. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign.
It'd be a bad sign considering.
Probably a terrible sign.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a bad sign at this point, but I'm with you, man. Especially with the Cowboys in the North analogy. I disgruntledly completely agree with that analogy. So I'm with it. 9-8 sounds good.
Now it's my version of Kyrie Irving for Joe. This guy lives in my head rent free. I've been spelling his demise for the time that we've been on the air. Green Bay at number 1. I think that this is the closest that we're going to be able to see Green Bay as to falling. I don't know how you lose Devontae Adams and you replace him with Sammy Watkins and some rookies, and you think that you're going to be a high powered offense. I have Green Bay at 11-6, and that's really generous. But it's also for me indicative of how bad that division is.
Yeah. Most likely I have as 12-5. I do see a case where Aaron Rodgers does carry that team, put him on a back like we've seen him do many, many times before, and they end up with 13-14. That's definitely a scenario I could see playing out, but I think we're safer going with the 11 or 12. Yeah.
Wow.
That was the weirdest, most amicable division.
I mean, it was a fucking evisceration of a division that probably deserves it. For me personally, just as a quick reaction before I throw it over to Joe and Ray, I think that fucking Packers are more like the Cowboys in the North, don't you? Like they're always good on paper. They always do well in the regular season. They crash out early in the playoffs. Like that's the recipe for being the Cowboys, isn't it? I mean, that's the Packers for you. I'm assuming you guys.
That's the current iteration of the Cowboys. Yes.
Yeah.
The Jason Garrett version is more like the Vikings, is what
fair.
I think.
Yeah.
It's where we were going. Yeah.
The thanks, Mike, for keeping track of those records. I think the criticisms of Aaron Rodgers I obviously think are very fair. Like, this ludicrous offseason he's had where he's like, I did ayahuasca. Now I like see everything as it is. And it's like, cool, dude. Do you see that you like limped past a fucking injured Jay Cutler to win your one fucking Super Bowl and you haven't done shit since, and like nobody really respects you in the game? Because if that made you see that, like, great. He's definitely a fucking regular season wonder. I don't think that I agree with you. I mean, I'm not gonna make the case for the Bears. I will say, like, framing it as like, oh, they lost Akeem Hicks, oh, they lost Khalil Mack. It's like, well, they're in a full rebuild. Like they had to get guys out. They had to try to get some future draft picks. We had basically none. We had a ton of old and expensive players that obviously weren't going to get it done. It was time to blow that team up. So, I know they're bad now, but I don't necessarily hate the direction we're going in. I agree with you. Love to see a little bit of an offensive line move to make sure that Justin Fields doesn't fucking die this season. But here we are. I thought maybe you guys were going to make a case for the Vikings winning the division, considering the Devontae Adams stuff and how you feel usually in this exact podcast that we do every year, Mike, about the Green Bay Packers. But maybe once bitten, twice shy. Here we are. Joe and Ray, what do you think of those records? Fair, not anything stick out to you?
Fair. But I think the Bears don't finish in the basement. I think either the Vikings or Lions do. I would run through a wall for Dan Campbell. I think that guy is about this, an outstanding. Like I don't think he's a bad dude. I think he is a good football coach. I don't know how good of a head coach he is, but I don't see them really going too far. And then the Vikings always they give you hope. But I think you got the top overall. I think you got the top two right. I think it goes Packers, Vikings, Bears, Lions. But I think there's going to be a bit of a fight for that second place spot between the Bears and the Vikings. I think that's going to be closer than than you guys might give it credit.
So we actually, so it's funny, right? So we'll get to the top, so stuff we talk about with AFC, but I think the Vikings actually could mess around and win this division. Honestly, I love Jeff.
Glad somebody said it.
You know what I'm saying? I think, and once again, I know that Kirk Cousins gets clowned on the show. He gets clowned around the league. If you look at his numbers, the guy puts up numbers decently every year. Once again, Justin Jefferson is a hell of a receiver. I just think, to me, you know, I remember they came into New Orleans a couple of years ago, won in there, that game when they had a Kyle Rudolph. So, you know, they're not going to the NFC Championship game like they did a few years ago, or even to the Super Bowl. But I do think that they'll make some noise, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they won. But yeah, I mean, like we joked about, it is Aaron Rodgers' division to lose until he says, I'm going home for good. But at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if Minnesota won.
He's not going home because his family don't fucking speak to him because he's an asshole. And don't think I missed that fucking Ice Cube reference at the start, by the way. Go ahead, Bobby.
The only reason I'm kind of out on the Vikings is that Cowboys reference does kind of ring true in my head, because I just don't know how much more time you can spend on the same core that continually year after year after year after year has underperformed and just stayed at that 500 level. I mean, I know it's a new regime now, which is, where that upside does come. I know that feeling, believe me.
It's funny. We feel different about it in this sport than another sport that we love so much.
Is that right, Mike? I just see Kirk Cousins' age doesn't do it for me. It's like, yeah, he has numbers. He
You would love to
no, I like Dak better than Cousins.
Yeah, Dak's definitely better than Cousins.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I thought about the Vikings, but I can't tie my wagon to another 9-8 team. Can't let it happen.
I will just to throw this last point in, though, the division that the Vikings have existed in, this sort of predominantly average state over the last, what would you say, like 7 years, like this core, like that's kind of like come out and like had it, looking on paper, this kind of point you're making. The Bears and even the Lions were harder to play over the last few years. Their division's a lot softer. Like you guys said, the Packers are even softer now. So that's 6 games right there that are winnable, across the board for the Vikings that they could pad their record with. I do think that like the coaching staff in there, they're like, of all the teams that in my division, the Royal I kind of hate the Vikings the least, so I wouldn't hate to see them winning, and the Packers not winning it would be awesome for me. All right, let's move on to the AFC North, just to stay in the same direction of the map. This should be a fun one. We've obviously got the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, and the Bengals. Gentlemen, let's do it the same way, because that was very efficient. Nicely done by Mike and Bobby. Didn't bicker like fucking Ozzy and Harriet in there. That was nice. Tell me your 1, your 2, your 3, and your 4, and then tell me your records from 4 to 1, please. Whoever wants to go.
Cincinnati, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. And I'll let Ray give the records here.
I guess you guys don't know about the fucking Mitchell stunts.
That was top to bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cincy first, obviously. Yeah, Cincy, Baltimore second, Pittsburgh third, and then Cleveland fourth. So for the record, Cleveland, we got, they're going to be 6-11. Obviously, when you miss Deshaun Watson for 11 games, like there's not much to be expected.
I don't miss him at all. Sorry.
Got you. Fair enough.
I mean, I know it's a whole different conversation, but like,
right, yeah, and that's we're not touching that right now. But no.
Yeah, well, he is.
No pun intended. Yeah, exactly. Right. But all right, yeah, try that from the tape. But no, 6-11. Like I said, they don't have much around. Him. I mean, I like Stefanski as a coach, but I mean, I think that's just too much to overcome in that regard. Pittsburgh going 7-10. This was really the first time that Mike Tomlin has a team that goes under 500 in this era. So, if there's anyone that you can bet that may mess around and mess that up for us, it is him. But just as of now, we just think that he'll go 7-10. And then, Baltimore, I am the biggest Lamar Jackson supporter on the show, by far. I still believe that, I know they lost Hollywood Brown, but I think that I like the addition of Kyle Hamilton. Obviously I like Marcangelo. Like I think that they still have enough. I'm expecting J.K. Dobbins to come back. I know he had an injury last year, to help stabilize that running game. So, I think they have enough to still have a double-digit win season. and see what Lamar Jackson does. And then last but not least, Cincinnati. Listen, Super Bowl, runner up. Joe Cool, the other Joe Cool. He's doing this thing, man. So I think that they're gonna go. Hold on, we had them 12-5, I believe. So so 12 wins, 5 losses. Like I think they find a way to win that division and do some more damage. So they have a great trio of receivers. They drafted well this year as well on paper. So yeah, we think Cincinnati is going to be the king of the North for quite some time.
Cleveland once again screwed up their organization when they were going in the right direction.
Right.
And they alienated Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield isn't Tom Brady. He's closer to Kirk Cousins. But had they built the roster correctly around him, they could have been much better. They have Nick Chubb in the backfield. They've always notoriously had a good offensive line. I mean, they have arguably one of the best offensive linemen of all time in their Ring of Honor, and Joe Thomas. I mean, they've done great over the years in building some pieces, and then they screwed up. Bringing in Deshaun Watson was an absolute mistake by the Browns ownership. Pittsburgh, yeah, I think they could screw this all up for us and end up like a 9-8. But when you have Kenny Pickett at quarterback, they could screw this up, because the last time they had a rookie quarterback start for them, it was Big Ben, and they did pretty well. And then Baltimore, I'm with Ray. They did lose Hollywood, but he was kind of a one-trick pony. They did sign the best kicker of all time to a new contract, so they'll be fine. And Cincinnati should repeat, not necessarily go to the Super Bowl again, but they should win the division. They got a better offensive line. They're Joe Burrow has another year of experience.
Cool. Where are you getting this definitive Kenny Pickett as QB1 for the Steelers? Because I haven't seen that anywhere. I still think it's Trubisky. I still think he's Demetrius is on, and I think
you have been out of the country, so
yeah. I mean, I just Googled it, and it seems like it's still in question. So I think Demetrius is still on, and I think that's going to spoil your record prediction. And I think
you're right. 17-0.
Sure. I think Mitch obviously had a bad coaching staff, and I think you could maybe make a case that he's a decent QB, and especially in that system. Also, Mike Tomlin, great coach, like you said, he's never been under 500, so it's a risk, I think, to say that this is going to be the first year.
He's the Darko Milicic of his draft until he's proven otherwise.
Sure, but like Mike Tomlin's proven that he never goes under 500, so you're betting on something that's never happened before. So odds, probably wouldn't be in your favor, but that's fine. I think a fair assessment of the Cleveland Browns, an unlikable organization becoming even more unlikable with their offseason moves. I agree with you. They were kind of headed in the right direction. I don't know if building your shit around Baker Mayfield is really ever going to be the case. I mean, like you said, they had a great offensive line, and every single time I watched the Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield had 25 minutes to throw the ball, and always threw in the wrong place. So it is what it is. But Mike and Bobby, what do you guys got? Any sort of big things jump out at you that you disagree with in that assessment? I know you probably want the Steelers' record to be lower. There's probably some internal biases there, but otherwise, what do you got?
I actually think that the Steelers' record should be higher. The only reason why I say it is because they have improved their quarterback, regardless of whether it is Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. That person is better than Ben Roethlisberger was last year, and I think 9-8 would be a safe place to put them, because then you're covered for 11-7 or whatever. I don't think Mike Tomlin's not a loser. Like, he's just not going to. He's not going to lose. The one thing I'll say is, would you have the Bengals at 12-5?
Yeah, 12-5.
Okay. Yeah, that feels right, because what they needed desperately was offensive line help, and that's what they got. I mean, they literally spent all their free agency on offensive linemen, and then Hayden Hurst tight end. So you have Jamar Chase and hopefully an upright, healthy Joe Burrow, who I think was sacked 70 times in the last year and a half. That's going to be a force. Yeah,
I feel like if they had two of the guys that they got, season on their offensive line, that's Super Bowl. They have a Super Bowl championship right now.
100%.
So,
yeah. 100%. But yeah, I think you're sleeping on the Steelers.
I think you're wow. I think the Ravens also could really challenge the Bengals for that division, because you remember last year, man, if I don't understand the reasoning behind it, and hopefully it changes this year. That kicker that you mentioned, Joe, if they had used him.
Say his name.
Justin Tucker. I know.
He's like the best kicker of all time.
Listen, but the thing is, they didn't use him in 2 huge situations last year, and they
That's
go for
coaching.
2.
That's
I
coaching. That's
understand
not
that,
him.
but listen, if you have the greatest kicker in the league, you use him when it comes down to deciding the game. I'm sorry. So if they had done that last year, I feel like they go to the playoffs and they have a much better outlook going into this season. I just think they're being slept on a lot, and I think that they can really challenge the Bengals for that.
Well, they're being slept on because, Lamar Jackson has criticism from people like me, but I'll just talk for me that he is not a great passer yet. So what do? You strip him of one of his best receivers, and Marquise, the right Hollywood Brown, and now what? Like, so is he going to improve because you took away one of his weapons? But I don't think that it can happen. But again, Harbaugh is a great coach, so like it's going to be tough for that team to be below 500. But I think this is probably the easiest. No, actually no, never mind. It's a bad take. I'm not even say it.
It's all right.
Growth. Such growth.
But I do think one last thing before we move on to the next division. I will put on wax right now that I think they have the defensive rookie of the year and Kyle Hamilton from Notre Dame.
He talked about him for months, bro.
Huh?
We've been talking about him.
Yeah,
for months.
he's. I think he really would have went highest to Detroit, but I think because he had, I think an injury before, really before the pro days, his stock dropped. But they, if there's anything they know how to draft over there is defense. And the fact that he's a 6'2", 220, 220-pound safety. Like, once again, we're not going to compare him to the great. They're not going to compare him to Woodson or to Reed yet, but he could be in that next line of great Ravens, defensive back. So I think he might be defensive rookie of the year when it's all said and done.
Yeah. I mean, the Ravens are kind of enigmatic. I think it's probably why you guys are having a little bit of trouble like nailing it down. Like, what Lamar Jackson do you get is always the question. I know we're like basically split on the podcast on whether he's a real quarterback or not, but if the off-season workout videos are to be believed, he's coming in with a whole new mental this season. So I wouldn't really put too much stock in those usually, but I mean, he did look in shape. So moving on back to the NFC. Let's go to the NFC East. Bobby, are you ready? Are you ready for the emotional roller coaster of the NFC East? Gentlemen, same format. Please give me your 1 through 4 and then your 4 through 1 on records.
Go ahead, Bobby.
No, I don't want to. I'm not. All right, fine.
All right.
No, I'll do. All right. So we have the Cowboys at number 1. First repeat NFC East division champion. I think it's in 12 years.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Philadelphia, number 2. I have these flipped from what Mike has. I have Washington 3 and the Giants 4.
You got to decide on one.
For
the record.
I mean, it honestly doesn't matter. They both suck.
They can tie.
So.
They can tie for third.
Oh yeah, if they have the same record.
Same record. Yeah. Okay. And then for records, so for Washington, if Carson Wentz sucks. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna say 5-12 for Washington.
Yes.
Same thing with the Giants. And then for Philly, I think this is one. Well, you had 9-8, right?
Yep.
I could see 10-7 because they're 9-8 last year, and they added maybe the most talented defensive player in the draft in Jordan Davis, and also AJ Brown. So I kind of want to up them to 10-7, and I do think that they do have a chance to. I guess we could do 9-8 though, because there's 2 games, right? So I guess
my question would be, Bobby, how likely is it that you think that they're going to win 12 games? Because 9-8 covers us for 11.
Okay, fair. And then the Cowboys, man. All right, so I'm just gonna pitch it for you. So I
pitch this.
This is my favorite part of the season.
I'm not gonna go crazy like I did the first year where it was 13-3. But I'm gonna go 12-5 with my boys, man. I do think that this team, another year.
Do you guys not have this decided?
No. We do this every year, man. I got to go 12-5. I don't have that much reasoning behind it. Besides Dak and CD are going to carry this team, and our defense is another year together under Quinn. So it's very possible we could have the best defense in the goddamn league this year. That is a very real possibility. Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Okay, it's very
stop. I gave you your chance. Okay, I hate that we're on the same team and we're doing this, but when you say
we're on the same team, it makes sense.
Dak and CD are going to carry the team. because they fucking have to.
Carried
There's literally, there's nobody else. Zeke is getting
there's
worse.
Pollard.
Yeah, stop. They're going to carry your offense.
Yeah.
And the number 12 is stuck in your head for a reason, right? Because in the last game of the year, instead of downing the ball, they ran it 12 yards and ran out of time. They are not going to win more than 12 games. That is their peak. So I had them at 10-7. You think 12-5. So why don't we just split it and say that the Cowboys are going to have the best year that they've had in a while and say 11-6.
And then do you want to do Eagles 10-7?
I don't think the Eagles are going to win 12 games.
All right, fine. All right, that's fair. That's fair. I'll take it. I'll settle on my Cowboys win and pick my battles here. So Cowboys 11.
I honestly really think you're sleeping on how dangerously bad your backfield could be this year, Bobby. I mean, like Zeke really looked like he's not.
Yeah,
he did not look like the same.
Tony
guy last year.
Pollard statistically and like all the analytics, the PFFs, all that stuff was the most efficient runner in the NFL.
Yeah,
Stop. No.
That's a real thing. Look it up.
DK.
That is real.
Okay, sorry, DK, but to quote you, Bobby, fuck the stat sheet. Use the eye test. You can't just go by stats.
Do you watch Tony Pollard run? Tony Pollard looks better than Zeke half the time. I honestly think by week
Not
8,
half the
Tony Pollard, most of the time now. Tony Pollard's leading this backfield, and people were sleeping on him. Watch.
Yeah, but Bobby, you're talking about you're making a case. I was big on the Cowboys last year because I love a good defense, and I actually do think I do agree with you. There's a chance that they do have a top 3, top 5 defense this year. I think there's a really good chance of that. But Zeke's contract being RB2 is like you can't. Like it's just like you're not taking a team to 12, 13, 14 wins with a contract like that sitting on the bench for a third of the snaps in the backfield. It just doesn't happen. Just doesn't happen. It was a stupid contract to give him in the first place. I think we even talked about it. We might have even been around for that travesty. You got to go off the Steelers method. Don't fucking pay running backs. Don't pay them because there's a million of them, and that's what happens.
Before you kick it to the AFC team host, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, please.
Mike McCarthy is still the head coach.
Yeah.
I fucking hate football season.
That's 5 losses. That's 5 losses.
Can we go back to Celtics, please? I like the Celtics way back.
Yeah. We will. All right. Kicking it over to the AFC team of Joe and Ray to react to this controversial NFC East prediction. Anything stick out to you? Are we going to talk about the Cowboys, or if we'll save the Cowboys for the end? Did anything of the other 3 teams stick out to you guys? And then you can move on to the Cowboys inevitably.
I agree with Bobby on
God.
Washington. Carson Wentz is a shell of what he may have possibly been at one point in his career. That Washington team only really has one thing going for him, and that's Chase Young. I think Taylor Heineke is a better NFL quarterback than Carson Wentz. So there's
but you love terrible quarterbacks.
I do love.
You know who they should trade? They should trade for Jimmy G, right? I bet you.
No, for a while I was with Craig, and I don't want to steal Craig's take, but for a while I was with Craig that if Zach Wilson went out, that the Jets should go get him. But a lot of people, when that whole rumor came out, a lot of people don't realize that the Jets already have an elite quarterback.
It's so easy to get Joe to go on a Jimmy G rant. It's so easy.
They don't need him. They don't need
just wait. Just wait. You can talk about you can talk about the Mormon MILF hunter in a few minutes, but just stick to
focus.
They have an elite backup quarterback in Joe Flacco, so they don't need to go get Jimmy G. No, man, I'm right there. I think the Cowboys are going to be. Bobby, you're such a fan. I can't wait until we get over to the AFC East. You're such a fan because, and I love you for it because you live and die by your Cowboys, and sometimes it's within seconds. I think 11-6 is generous this year. I don't think they're going to be as good. I think the Giants are gonna stink. I think Washington's gonna stink. I think Philadelphia is gonna stink because Nick Sirianni is not a good head coach. So by default, Dallas is gonna win that division, and it's gonna be a 9-8 or a 10-7.
So I personally, and I think I said this on the power of the show, I think Washington is someone that can make some noise, and only because I think Wentz is not going to make it past week 7 or 8. And once again, it's not wishing anything else. So I want to get that clear for those that listen and go in the comments say, you're wishing injury in that quarterback. No, relax. this is just going by what he's been able to do in his career. Unfortunately, he's been injury prone. So that means Hickey's going to come in. You got Scary Terry. You got some other weapons there that are really well, that play really well down there in Washington. And yeah, I'm a big Chase Young guy. We got 99 problems, and sacking the quarterback is not one. Like he is phenomenal. And I think that he is the best defensive player in that division. I say that with all conviction. Like I know, Bobby and others will say it's Trey Diggs. Fine. You want to say that? Cool. I think it's
Micah Parsons.
Okay, sure. But I'm like, either way, they're not 99. Chase Young is that guy defensively in that division, in my opinion. The Micah Parsons to me is literally right behind him at number 2 if you want to go there. But yeah, Dallas, like you said, by default should win. Once again, I try to be a Jalen Hurts supporter. I tried. I really have. He just doesn't have it. Like, yeah, he's just not there. He's a quicker Tyrod Taylor at this moment. And I'm just like, that's not someone who's, he's never a star. Once again, it's serviceable. He'll be in the league for a long time, but not someone who's going to be a long-time starter for any team, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough red pill situation, Bobby. But what'll be tougher is watching them actually play. So moving on. Sorry. Look, I've been on your team, man. I mean, I really do like watching that defense. I truly do. They're the only.
Oh my God.
I think everyone will agree they're the only really relevant thing in the NFC East. They're the only thing that we're going to be talking about with any kind of conviction. I think you might have even overplayed the Eagles a little bit. I'm glad Mike talked you back down to single digits on the Dubs there because, yeah, no, they're not winning 12 games. Agreed on Jalen Hurts. Agreed on the – it's sad listening to Ray talk about the kind of really cool players that Washington has because I like a lot of those guys. Like I think Terry McLaughlin might be my favorite wide receiver in the NFL. And
he's a beast, man.
And he's like a nice guy. And like he's so fucking irrelevant in Washington like because they're not going to do shit ever. And it's just a bummer. So – It is what it is. I agree with you. You have some exciting players, but
let's just remind the NFL public that Carson Wentz had a win or go home game against maybe the worst team we've seen in a very long time in those Jacksonville Jaguars, and just absolutely shit the bed last week of the season. So
no, I mean, but my favorite Barbie Cowboy moment since we've done the show, had to be in the Atlanta game when they ended up coming back to win against Atlanta. And to see the range of emotion from like, this is happening to, oh my fucking God, we're gonna win again. That was Big Bobby when it comes to the Cowboys, and it was just beautiful to see the list of messages go like, it's happening, it's fucking happening, and it's just that would never be topped. Unless they have a meltdown this year where I'm at the proportion. When hey, we're trying to be positive here.
I gotta make one concession though, Bob. You gotta keep your dick in your pants a little bit across the first 7 games because your schedule is front loaded. Like, no, the thing is like they're gonna play the Bucks week 1, then they play the Bengals week 2. Then they play the Rams week 5 or 4, whatever. And it's like, it's a tough start, but honestly, it levels out. You get to play the whole fucking NFC North.
After that, yeah.
So if the Cowboys can if they can mentally keep their shit together, if they can lose probably, if we're being honest, 3 of their first 5 games and not completely implode, they might actually be able to recover their season. But mental strength, not a huge Mike McCarthy strong point. Okay. Finally, we're done shitting on. I'm so sorry. Finally, we're done shitting on the Cowboys. As fun as it is, let's move back over to the AFC, and we'll do the AFC East. Why not?
I hate you, Dad.
Great. Go right ahead from bottom to top.
Same deal, guys. Do 1 through 4, and then 4 through 1 for the records.
All right. So, I'm fucking depressed. So the Bills gonna win. We got Bills 1, Dolphins 2, Patriots 3, and then Jets 4. So for the record, the Jets, we have 6-11 for the Jets, 9-8 for New England, 10-7 for the Miami Dolphins, and then 13-4 for Bills Mafia, aka the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and looking at this one, I mean the Jets, I think they're going to be better than they were last year. I think they have the ability to have more.
I feel like you say this every year. I'm getting
do.
deja vu.
I do. I do say
It's
it
never
every year.
true.
I think they have the ability to win more than 6 games. And when I say 6, I mean 7. More than 6, I mean 7.
That is
you
more
know,
than 6.
yes, it is.
So nice.
I don't know.
Fair point.
I think they've improved a little bit. I think they are moving in the right direction. The Patriots at 9-8. Ray and I think might be meeting in the middle a little bit here. Because I think the opposite of the Patriots. I think there's a possibility they go the other way. I think there's a possibility they have 8 or 7 wins this season. So I don't think they end up below the Jets. I think that would cause Foxborough to burn down. Then the Dolphins got good. Tua's getting rave reviews in camp. Maybe that's just Miami spinning it. And then the Bills are the Bills. The Bills got better, and they're going to be damn good.
Yeah. I mean, listen, Mike said it first on a couple of shows ago. He said that New England was closer to the Jets than anybody else in that division. And, I've gotten mad at Mike a few times on the show, that was the next one. I was pissed, but unfortunately that could hold true this year, unfortunately. And it makes me sick. It makes me sick that could be the case, because it shouldn't fucking be the case. We should at least be a 10-win team like we were last year, maybe taking that uptake, but obviously on paper, they just don't look good enough to win. My stance on Miami is still saying, yes, Gesicki and, Hill and Jaylen Waddle, who I love as a wide receiver. Once again, talent-wise, yes. Talent-wise, they're there. They have it. That's not my beef. Like, I still understand. Once again, me and you, DK, we did a show on it. I'm not in favor of anything they do until they get rid of that ownership down there, or they get, they rectify what happened down there with Florida. So I'm not wishing anything, but yes, talent-wise, they're a double-digit win team. I'm not thinking that Tua's going to take that leap, but hey, once again, if you have that talent around you, you should be able to throw it over the parking lot down there.
Would you have the Dolphins at? What was the record?
It was 10-7.
Okay.
Only because I think they'll split the Bills. They'll probably beat us twice. They always beat us in Miami, so I'm pretty sure that they'll win in Miami. Week 1, like I said, we'll get into that at some point. But yeah, I just think that's what's going to happen. They'll lose some games they probably shouldn't, with having a rookie head coach. But there's going to be times when that talent takes over, and they're going to throw a Mike Thomas type route to Tyreek Hill, and he's going to go 85 yards, and they're going to say Miami Dolphins number 1. And I've been there. I just say that's where they play that bullshit song.
I think they're a closet Dolphins fan.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happens. So it is what it is. But yeah, Bills win that division. Like I said, listen, Josh Allen, me and Craig told you, we foreshadowed it in 2020. We said Josh Allen was going to run the division once Brady left, and that's what's happening. Long 17 is in there. It's going to be hard to beat them. But Mac 10, baby, we need you to make some noise at some point.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. A lot to unpack there. I'd say this is probably, for me personally, I'm going to throw quickly to Bobby and Mike, but for me personally, probably the division I disagree with most so far in the predictions. Is it just me, or does all the Tua stuff, I just keep fucking hearing
I think
about
it's crazy.
Tua, and it's like, everything that comes out is like, it's the most accurate arm in the history of arms. It's the greatest arm I've ever seen. He's never missed a pass ever. He's the most amazing quarterback I've ever seen. It's like, dude, methinks the lady does protest too much. Just why don't you just let his fucking game do the talking? Let's see what they actually have. 10 wins? I don't know, man. The Dolphins, that's a big turnaround especially from a front office.
Mike got them going to the playoffs. Mike think they're going to be great.
We'll see. But I mean, from a perspective of a team that let their front office, who clearly knew less about football than their head coach, win. I just don't see that going well for them. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? I also think you guys have the Patriots a little high. Sorry, but what do you guys think, Mike and Bobby? What do you think about the Dolphins? Patriots?
Go ahead.
Jeff.
I was just aimed.
Let's I think you're going Cowboys again. I was about to get back.
No. I think what the Dolphins did in this offseason is that they nullified the whole Tua can throw, he throws the most accurate ball. He's going to be a great passer. They bring in Tyreek Hill. They bring in Cedric Wilson. They bring in Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert. They're making it so he doesn't have to make difficult.
But they're talking
downfield
about it
throws.
so much, though. Like all they're talking about is how great do it. And you're right, they're not gonna.
Yeah, I agree with you that it's a lot of hype, but he's going to be the king of the dump off, and that's fine. Their offense has gotten exponentially better than it was last year. I think that's just a fact. Their head coach has gotten, I would say, exponentially worse than it was last year. So that's going to be a factor too. But I do think that they are leaps and bounds, talent-wise, ahead of the Patriots. And I want the Patriots to go 10-7. I think the Patriots were more likely going to go 7-10. And then it's going to be, everything's going to be going to hell. But yeah, this is the Bills division until Josh Allen decides that it isn't. And that team only got better.
Yeah, the Dolphins are the one I disagree with the most. I'm with you guys with that because listen, I get the talent, I get that, but we've seen this so many times where
Personally.
Exactly. Where that team takes that step where they sign all these players and they're in there that talk of the offseason. They've improved so much. They've done this. Guess what? The weak spot of that team last year wasn't the wide receivers. It wasn't the running backs. It wasn't the offensive line. It was the quarterback. That's why they didn't succeed that much last year. Like there's so many times where Tua had open wide receivers and had dudes 4 touchdowns and just didn't make the right call, didn't make the right read, didn't make the right throw. So I just think you can surround everything in football, but if you don't have the quarterback, it's not going to do much. So I think.
I'm surprised you didn't say this now because you said it when it happened then. If you put Justin Herbert with that Dolphins team, that's right now,
could go to
my God, they
100%.
They would have won the division right now. They would have won the division right now with Justin Herbert's quarterback. I was going to see that.
The reason why I think the Dolphins and Pats are a little closer to like 7-10, 8-9, both of them, is because I just think if you put Tua on the Pats might have 3 to 4 wins this year. If you put Mac Jones on the Dolphins, they absolutely could have 10, 11, 12 wins. But I just think that
the nicest thing you've ever said about Mac Jones.
Yeah, no, it's not. I love Mac Jones. You guys know that. I just think the quarterback makes your team, and that's just going to drag.
Oh, for sure.
I think they're very even.
I think they went 9-8 last year.
Right,
they went
exactly.
9-8 last year with Tua as a quarterback, and they didn't get worse.
Yeah, but they lost.
They did it head row.
Right.
Right, but then they went on a run. But
because of the head coach, though.
Oh no, for sure. For sure. But I do think this is, like I said, we can move on after this. Obviously, because none of us are hosting, you all DK. But I think that and I know this could be just from being down there, like fans down there. The older fans are clamoring for like the 72 or the $75. The older fans are clamoring, but the people that are around our age are clamoring for the team with Jay Fiedler and Ricky Williams and Ronnie Gatson and Lil Amari and Chris Chambers, and Zach Taylor, Patrick Sertain, Sam Madison. Like they're clamoring for that team because that team was really good in the early 2000s. Even after the absence of or the retirement of Dan Marino, like they got smacked in his final game, 62-14, in the divisional round by Jacksonville. I just had to put that out there. But it was just like wow. I think that's what they're looking for, that run again. I don't know that's going to happen, but once again, hey, Miami fans, you have a cheerleader here, Michael Marcangelo. You heard it here first. Dolphins, Dolphins behind Tua, baby. Miami Dolphins #1. Like they're going to the playoffs, baby.
Yeah, I mean, Tua is better than Jay Fiedler. It's just fact.
Sure.
It's not an opinion.
All right, moving on.
Sure.
So the
ears,
probably the first time we've ever talked about the AFC East, and the Patriots aren't the talk of the division anymore. I guess the Dolphins are the hot button ticket. So I think you guys have done 2 divisions. Bobby and Mike have done 2 divisions, and time to move over to the NFC. What?
No, it was the quietest we've ever been going to a break, and it was just amazing.
That is impressive. You guys all really fucking love to hear yourself speak. So
thinking about the Cowboys.
So moving back over to the NFC, let me figure out what would be the more interesting division to talk about. I think we're gonna go with the NFC West and the Super Bowl champion LA Rams. If you guys could tell me your 1 through 4, and then your records 4 through 1. That'd be
We had
great.
the same. We had the same one. 1 through 4, right, Bobby?
Yep.
All right. So 1 is the Rams, 2 are the 49ers. I have a tie for second, but we'll do third of the Cardinals, and then fourth is Seattle. I have Seattle at 6-11, and that's being really generous. I think it might be tough for this team to win 5 games, but I don't know. Like I just think that Pete Carroll is going to get more than 4 wins out of this team, so that's why I'm hedging my bets with 6. I mean, welcome to the Drew Lock Show. This is going to be awful, absolutely fucking awful to watch. I feel bad for Seattle fans. This is, I mean, just absolutely fucking terrible. Bobby, is 6-11 okay with you?
I kind of want to go lower. I think it's going to be about 3.
All
Listen,
right, so 5 and
well, yeah, put it knock that one. Yeah, just because listen, you look at that quarterback runs off. Like I said, you can put weapons around him. I know DK, Lockett, all these guys are still there, but Drew Lock is definitely a bottom 3 quarterback in the NFL. So,
Starting.
not close.
starting quarterback.
Sure. So I have Arizona at 10-7, and I have them tied with San Francisco at 10-7. I think the addition of Hollywood Brown will just help that offense. Kyler Murray will have to spend that additional 4 hours per week watching plays and making sure
That was weird.
Right. So why would you fucking sign that? Like, I get why they put it in the contract, but why would you sign it? Never mind. I just think that they're going to build off of last year. They did lose Chase Edmonds. They did lose Christian Kirk and Chandler Jones. I think that's going, like, those are going to be some hits, but I think luckily for them, Seattle, who was one of their biggest nemesis in that division, got so much worse that they can recoup those two wins. So I have them at 10-7, Bobby, or are we okay with that?
Yeah, I mean, because I'm 9-8. Listen, my biggest problem with Arizona is the coach. Man, I think Kingsbury's a joke, to be honest. When it comes down to the end of a season, he
Easy.
it's Mr. 500, man. I'm gonna keep going back to that. He was 500 at college. He's 500 in Arizona. Listen, he has Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, Chase Edmonds, JJ Watt, Chandler Jones, all these guys, and you go, what did they 9-8 last year? 10-7? Come on. That team is so much better than what they performed at. Could we go down 1 with 9-8?
So do you think that they will?
If Kyler goes down, which is possible, one of the smallest quarterbacks in the NFL, all he does is run. If Kyler
Nobody ever
down,
catches him though.
All he does is run.
Well, he runs a lot.
Wow.
Okay? He runs a lot. It's not all he does. I'm sorry. He runs a lot. And he's one of the smallest mobile quarterbacks I've ever seen. He's smaller than Russell Wilson. He's smaller than all these dudes. And if he goes down, that team gets bad fast.
That's true of every single team. So if your quarterback gets injured, you're gonna have a worse record.
Let me ask you a question, Bobby. What is more likely, that team wins 12 games or that team wins 7 games?
I guess 12.
All right, 10-7 it is. So, all right. So next is San Francisco. Now it's the Trey Lance show. I have them again at 10-7. I think this is going to be a really, really great year for the 49ers. I also just think that Seattle, the seismic shift that happened with Seattle is going to be felt throughout this. I think this is going to be a dogfight in this division. I don't think that the 49ers have a chance of winning 13 games, but I think that they could win 12. I don't think that they're going to win less than 8. So, Bobby, can we agree at 10-7 to the Niners?
Yeah. The only thing I'll say about the Niners is I just think it's the biggest variance possible and across the whole NFL with the 49ers, because Trey Lance could be unreal with Kyle Shanahan calling those plays and developing an offense around him. Listen, he brought a Jimmy G led team to the Super Bowl, and Jimmy G is nowhere close to the athlete that Trey Lance is. So they could be one of the best teams in the NFL with Trey Lance. And
you just hurt Joe in the soul.
I did. I saw that go deep down inside. But also, listen, Trey Lance he's not seasoned. He hasn't played much quarterback. So it's very possible that he's awful.
Whose
It's a
fault
very
is that? That's the organization's fault.
100%. What the upside to the basement is such a far space in between with this team.
Yeah.
They could win 6-7 games. I think that's very possible, but we'll go with the 10. That's fine because upside is there.
Right. All right. So Rams at 12-5. I think when you look at their offseason and they lose guys like Von Miller, Robert Woods, Odell Beckham's not there anymore. He hasn't signed yet, at least because he's injured. But then you replace him with Allen Robinson and Bobby Wagner. I think that they did what they needed to do to show the team around them. But one big variable for me is Stafford's shoulder and him saying that he feels like he has tendonitis or something, or tinnitus. One of those two. Tinnitus is the ears. But I think that their basement, if everyone is healthy, is 10 wins, and their ceiling is probably 14 wins, which I don't know that they're going to do. So we have the LA Rams at number 1 in that division at 12-5.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said.
Seems fair. A little harsh on the Cardinals, I think. Like you said, I think they're pretty stacked on paper, especially offensively. I feel like Kyler Murray gets a bad rap for being small. Are we over the small thing yet? I mean,
It's hurt every year, though.
I guess, but I mean, that this whole like, does he watch tape thing? Does he watch? Yeah, I mean, he's obviously better than Jimmy G. Sorry, Joe. But like this whole does he watch tape thing? It's like, yeah, of course he fucking watches tape. Like he wouldn't be able to do what he did numbers wise in the games that he did play.
Why would he sign that? Why would
I know it just didn't make any sense that they put it in there? Like that's the thing about the 49ers. Like I think if you have a poorly run organization, it trickles down. And like clearly to me, the 49ers are like, there's just nobody's the Cardinals. Yeah, no, but that's what I mean though, is like when you look at these teams in this division specifically, like, does anyone here think that the LA Rams are going to win the Super Bowl again? Like, raise your hand if you think the LA Rams are going to repeat.
I think it's possible.
Repeat, but
It's possible.
Yeah, I think anything's possible, but it's like, well, are you betting on the LA Rams to win the Super Bowl?
All right, KG.
No, you're not. You're just not, because I just think, like, you look at this division and it's like there's a lot of shell games going on, a lot of weird movements, weird stuff in the Cardinals front office with this contract, weird stuff in the 49ers front office with quarterback positions and who's who and who's in charge and who calls the shots. It's just a weird division. And I feel like it's fair that you put a lot of these guys like kind of right in the middle, because it's a little bit tough to call. And then you're right. I mean, Stafford's shoulder, I never really rated him. I obviously kind of have to shut the fuck up after he like went and won a Super Bowl. I do think that was a lot, the defensive line, at least in the game itself. Yeah. But he went and won a Super Bowl. He's a champion now. So like there's that star is not going to fade off. But Joe and Ray, what do you guys think? Any major things that kind of ruffled your feathers? For me, it was just the Cardinals. I feel like they're a little bit better than
I have so much to say. I have so much. You're right on the Seahawks. I'm with you guys on the Seahawks.
Yeah, everybody knows they're going to be trash.
They're going to be trash, and I think what they've done up there, that's surprising to me, what they've allowed that organization to become in such a short period of time, where they let go of, and I say this lightly, so nobody jump on me for this, but a generational quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks in Russell Wilson. He leaves, and then you're going to fall on Geno Smith, who proved he can't be a backup, and Drew Lock, who is a less than middling quarterback in Denver. Granted, he had Vic Fangio as his coach, so maybe he'll be better with Pete Carroll. I think you guys are a little tough on the Cardinals. I agree with Dave on the part about Kyler Murray. Like, let's get over his size. The dude can play football. My biggest thing there is the Kingsbury stuff. I half agree with Bobby. I half disagree. I disagree because I think he's a good coach. I think he is pretty good at what he does. I think some of his practices, allowing cell phone time, like taking breaks for cell phone time during meetings last year. I mean, that's kind of whack. Like that. What are you doing there? I think Hollywood Brown is an improvement over Christian Kirk. I liked Christian Kirk, but Hollywood Brown is definitely an improvement. I see them finishing ahead of the 49ers. And Bobby, for the record, they won 11-6 last year. And when Kyler Murray went down, they didn't get worse. They played just fine. Colt McCoy went 2-1 in 3 starts. I mean, he had a winning record in 3 starts. So I think you guys are low on them. I think you're too high on Trey Lance.
Well, they weren't anywhere on Trey Lance in their defense. Like Bobby was like, he could be fucking terrible, or he could be the second coming.
No, I know, but like the stuff that's going, like you said, the stuff that's going on there in their front office. I mean, that involves Jimmy G and Trey Lance, and I think there's something between Shanahan and Lynch. I think Shanahan is a good quarterback whisperer, if you will. I think he's good at developing quarterbacks. So if there's a guy that's going to do it, it's going to be him. That's going to allow Trey Lance to flourish. I don't see him being. I think they have good pieces around him. I don't think he's ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think the Cardinals finish ahead of them, and then the Rams are just good. I think they're going to have a Super Bowl hangover, but the Rams are just really good. They win that division outright.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, my only thing is just the Cardinals thing. Once again, we revered for them on the Power Ranking show, so I don't know what changed in the matter of 2 weeks, but they're just really good.
No, you guys killed me on it because I had
Right.
Yeah,
No, but yeah, but I'm like, but they're a really good team. So, yes, D Hop's out for the first 6. We get that. That's going to be a blow, obviously. But there's other talent that's there, and once again, yeah, sometimes the talent. Sometimes the talent.
Hard team to game plan against is the thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. So I just think that's the only thing I would change. I was in the minority of those that thought Drew Luck would be good coming out of Missouri a few years back. And I did say this on the Power Ranger show. I think that the guy that's been there, because he got drafted a few years ago in the 6th round himself, Anthony Gordon, who's out of Washington State. I think I don't know how much he ends up playing in his last game here, because I know it's more of a dress rehearsal, but I do think maybe there's a way that he has to get in the range at some point. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Geno Smith. And once again, Drew Lock has not proven, even though I thought he would be good, he hasn't proven. Like he's most known for jamming to Put On by Young Jeezy on the sideline, which was a great clip, because great song. Don't get me wrong. But you got to Put On at Quest Field, which I'm probably dating myself on the show because it's not Quest Field anymore, probably, but that's what I remember it as, Quest Field. So they named it Quest Field. I'm gonna call it Quest Field until I remember the name of the new Seattle Field. So, but yeah, Arizona should be better than what you guys are saying.
All right, word. All right, let's go over to the AFC again. And I'm going to give you guys, just so we can power through it because we're running out of time here, I'm going to give you the AFC West, which should be a pretty easy call, I think. Not too much contention across the board here, but let's hear what you got.
Best division in football.
Yeah, I mean,
unequivocally,
everybody should kind of be on the same page about it, so it should go quick on the podcast. Keep up, guys.
All right, here we go. Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos 7-10, Chargers 10-7, Raiders 11-6, Chiefs 12-5. For me, the Broncos Nation, let's ride. I think that's a great pickup for them. I mean, they traded a worse quarterback for a better quarterback. They still don't have. I mean, they have Cortland Sutton. They have some pieces there, but they even traded away Noah Fant. Not that he was a top 15 tight end anyway. I just don't see them doing anything. 7 might be high. I think the best thing that they have on that team right now is Russell Wilson. The Chargers are really good. These 3 were tough for Ray and I. The Chargers are really good. I think the thing that stands in the way of the Chargers is their front office. I think 10-7. I think that them and the Raiders could flip-flop at 2-3, maybe, but 10-7 for the Chargers. I mean, Justin Herbert is the real deal. This kid can play. Raiders, I love what Josh McDaniels looks like out there. I think he has a different swagger about him this time around. And I think he's going to help that organization succeed. And then the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, whether they have Tyreek Hill or not. They're still going to be the Chiefs, and they're still going to win games. They still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have Travis Kelce. So they'll figure it out.
Yeah, we I don't know. I'm a Russ guy, and I thought you were Mile High Joe put him at number 4. I did. I was like, hey, what is going on? Let's ride.
Competition's tough.
Yeah, it is. But listen, if there's a guy that could challenge 15 in that division, you're looking at him like Russell Wilson is a problem. And Jerry Jeudy is an excellent wide receiver.
Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, I'm like, Court is a session, Joe. Come on. But no, he's phenomenal. Cortland Sutton, obviously I know had an injury a couple of years ago, but you know, he is someone that's formidable. And then KJ Hamler from Penn State, like they have a good trio in their own right. I do think you had the Raiders at 2 because of how well you want McDaniels to do. I think that's where you put
I think they're better. I think they're going to be better than the Chargers. I do.
Yeah, but to me, I would flip flop personally. For me, I would flip flop the 2-3. So my only thing is the Chargers, they don't historically, and it's not just recently, they do not stay healthy. And you know, to quote someone from the Full Letter Network, what can go wrong will go wrong. And I know it's not for the same team, but they do begin with a C as well. It's like it is what it is. Whether it's James, whether it's, you know, it was Melvin Ingram at times in the past, whether it's one of the Bosa boys, like they somehow, some way, someone is on the shelf for a few weeks, unfortunately. And then I personally, I think LA is going to start out the gate like 6 or 7-0. I think I can see them run the table, and all of a sudden someone goes down for a few weeks, and then on that letter, 15 is making his comeback, and you know, Craig is over there crying in the corner because Mahomes once again is doing damage. So
I guess
the best video ever.
I guess more contention about this division than I thought. I sort of
I'm the Russ guy. I just think to me,
yeah. I mean, but the thing is I was convinced you were going to put. I was convinced you were going to put the Broncos at number 4 just because of the competition.
I guess, yeah. Technically, if that's the case, then yes, I guess maybe on paper we could say it. But like I said, the other guy that's really battle tested and proven in that division besides 15 is number 3. So if there's anyone that can get those guys to rally around him, is Russell Wilson. Like that's just
me. I don't know. I think the Russell Wilson era has come to an end. Now that he's an internet joke and he's getting older in years.
He's been a joke for a while, but
I mean, we've done the internet joke that he currently is a few times now. But the idea is, I think his time is probably up, and I think that to be in that division
at 33 years old, he's done.
No, but hear me out. Calm down for a second. It's like,
that's wild.
I didn't know.
Like quarterback.
I didn't know he was
there. Like that's
when your fucking hair today. Jesus Christ.
It's too tight. Too tight, man.
It's tight. It's tight. You must think about
fucking Russell Wilson. Ray goes berserk. Listen, here's the thing. Yes, at 33 in a much tougher division than he's ever been in his entire career. Against quarterbacks that are frankly fucking better than him in that division. Like they just are.
Is better than Russell Wilson?
No, I think he's the 3rd best quarterback in the division, but I think he's probably going to be on the 4th best team. I mean, look, now that Gruden's out of Las Vegas, I don't hate the Raiders quite as much. I think that Carr is serviceable, but I think they have a talented team. I think that the Justin Herbert slander has got to end at some point. Like he's just so good. He's so fucking good.
There was no slander of him. We said
there's a general slander around him. He's an afterthought. I feel like for a lot of people, I think that this is going to be his year where he like sort of gets on the scene, especially with the competition in that division. But listen, I'll never say another fucking bad word about Russell Wilson ever again. I sincerely apologize. I had no idea that he was your emergency contact. Moving on.
I love
it. Let's let Bobby and Mike have their say about this AFC West. I really did think we were all going to be on the same page about it, but I guess not. What do you guys think?
We're officially a hashtag Broncos Country Let's Ride podcast.
Let's ride.
I don't mean to cause even more contention. I think the Chargers, if they stay healthy, they absolutely have a chance to unseat the Chiefs, and honestly, I think they do. If
Chiefs
you
got worse.
Yeah, you look top to bottom across the Chargers, man. All they did was get better. They have Justin Herbert. Khalil, like they have so many pieces there now that like any one that does go down, they have depth to cover them now. It's just that team top to bottom is built so well. And like you just said, man, I think you're gonna notice Hill gone. I really do. He was such a safety outlet for Mahomes. I really think the Chargers are going to unseat the Chiefs. That's like my upset take of the year. I really think
year, right? Like this would be their year if everything was going to come together for them, and like Herbert was finally going to like really make an impact and really matter and be in the conversation come playoff time. This is going to be the year that it happens, right? I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, Brandon Staley's going to be gone.
Russell Wilson, Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, Devontae Adams, Chandler Jones, all added to this division.
It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
And I still think I think it's Mahomes' division until proven otherwise.
Sure.
But the only thing that I would say, and I can't really remember what you had for records because the president of the Russell Wilson fan club clouded my ears. But like these teams are going to beat the shit out of each other all year. Like there was always the Chiefs always had 2 wins that you could guarantee 2 wins against Denver or 2 wins against the Raiders. That's out now. Like you could realistically see 4 teams right around the 9-8, 10-7 marker. It's not saying that they're bad. It's just saying that they're beating the holy hell out of each other all year long. But I think the biggest surprise would be to see the Raiders take the division. But this is still Mahomes. It's still Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And I mean, and Juju Smith-Schuster, I know that everyone wants to shit all over him, but he's on a contract year. He's not playing for a lot of money. He's going to ball out. And I think, was it Marquez Valdez-Scantling? Like he was Aaron Rodgers' safety blanket when Devontae Adams was covered. So I think they're going to be fine. I really think that the Chiefs,
they have to play a little different. Like to your point, though, like they have to play a little bit differently now than they have been. Like that's sort of dump and run. Like the Chiefs can make something out of nothing no matter what. If the play breaks down, it doesn't matter. Like they can score 4 touchdowns in the blink of an eye. Like that's not the same offense that they really have anymore. Like that wasn't coming through Patrick Mahomes so much as it was coming through the Tyreek Hills of the world. Okay, here you go, 5 yards away from me, fucking turn around and make something happen, you fast little fucker. Like that's what they were doing. I do see Bobby's point there. However, you're right. They now have deeper threats, like a little bit of a different, maybe we see Mahomes' arm go. I got this weird feeling about Herbert this year, man. I really do. Like, I think he's going to be a top 3 NFL quarterback this year. Like I could see it. I can see it in my mind's eye. It's not a preposterous thing to say. And they've added some serious talent onto that team that was already pretty talented. So, I mean, I was wrong. I really thought we were all going to be like, yeah, I mean, the Chargers or the Chiefs, who knows? But apparently there's a lot of debate at the top here. Cream rises to the top. We'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun watching that division. That's for sure. A lot of really fun games. Mike, did you have one more thing to add? It seemed like you had one more thing to add there.
No, I was going to transition to like the least fun division to talk about.
Right. Okay. We're moving on to the final division for the NFC team, which is the NFC South. Falcons, Panthers, Saints, Bucks. I'm assuming we'll spend most of our time here on the Buccaneers, but like we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Gentlemen, what do you got?
So it's 1 Tampa, 2 New Orleans, 3 Carolina, 4 Atlanta. And
who's gonna make the Jameis argument? Who's it gonna be?
So I don't have anyone besides Tampa Bay having a winning record in this division. I think that Atlanta is going to be absolutely fucking terrible. I mean, we've seen Marcus Mariota. We all know, we know who that guy is. He'll be healthy for about 6 games, maybe, and then who the hell knows what's going to happen to him. I mean, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, just both go away and let PJ Walker play.
You would say that no matter who was the quarterback, unless it was Tom Brady. Like you just want, and I'm with you.
You'll get your rebuttal. You'll get your rebuttal. You'll get your rebuttal.
But I mean, Bobby, I think Bobby and I both believe that the Atlanta Falcons could be one of the worst teams that we've seen. Mm-hmm. I have them 4-13 because I think that they could win only 2 games, but they will not win more than 6. Is that fair?
Yeah. I almost want to drop them down one because I think it's possible they're like a 1-win team because like Kyle Pitts is the only guy on that roster right now. I mean, who's their one now? It's like Alameda Zacchaeus or something like that is the number 1 wide receiver.
Good.
It was good. Finally, I can pronounce something. It's amazing. Yeah, no, we'll keep it. I'm okay with it because I think a 1-win season is very unlikely, but I think that's a very possible thing.
Carolina, I mean, 6. I had them at 6-11. I really, really, really hope that PJ Walker gets to shine. But that trade for Baker and Sam Darnold, I mean, they did add, Rashard Higgins for whatever that's worth. And is it Deonta Foreman at running back too? Like he's
what
good.
About those 2.5 games that Christian McCaffrey actually plays though? Like that's, there could be something there.
So I had them at 6-11 because I think he's going to be healthy for 6 games.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I do. There is a universe where I think they could be the underdog team of the year, where they're that team, like, oh my god, the Panthers, but it's not this universe. So
yeah, walk us through,
multiverse.
walk us through New Orleans, Bobby.
Yeah, no, I just with Jameis, man, it's tough for me to give them any more than max 9 wins. I just see he's the fate, feast or famine. You know what I mean? He'll make the most amazing play in the world, but then all of a sudden he throws 3 interceptions the next 3 passes he throws. Losing Sean Payton, I just say it's going to be tough for that team to show any kind of life, because listen, that's one of the so far 2 years in a row you've lost one of the best quarterbacks of all time and one of the best head coaches of all time. That's just the recipe for a big downfall.
Yeah, what's your culture now? Like, who's deciding your culture?
Exactly.
I mean, Jameis can throw better than
eat some W's, bro. Is that what we're gonna do?
Better than Drew could in the last couple of years, but I don't know that he can process the game.
Still Drew Brees, though. You know.
Yeah, but there was always Sean Payton there, and now with him gone, I think we had them at 8-9 because they could win 10 games, but that would be the best season of their lives. But they're more than likely to win 6. And then we have TB12 Buccaneers. I have them at 12-5. I mean, you think about the fact that they needed to shore up that offensive line. They traded for Shaq Mason. They got Russell Gage in free agency. They get K-Dot, the tight end, in free agency. And then out of nowhere, they just do what Brady always did when he was here. They just pulled this relic wide receiver that's been just thrown away. Everyone thinks he sucks, Julio Jones, and he's going to come in, and it will either be, I think it's going to be what Antonio Brown was. I mean, Brady loves rehabilitating thrown away wide receivers. He did it in New England, and he's done it in Tampa Bay. So I have them at 12-5, unless Bobby can convince me otherwise.
Yeah, listen, so this is the most absurd wide receiver group I've ever seen in my entire life. You have a guy, Scotty Miller, who's made big time NFL catches in big time games as your 6th wide receiver, or 5th or 6th wide receiver on the goddamn depth chart. That is unreal. Listen, I know Julio Jones is over the hill. I get it. I know he's
under the hill.
I mean, yeah, he's off. He's not off the hill when he's your 3rd or 4th, maybe even 5th option in your offense. You know what I mean? Like, Tom Brady's going to be able to be like Mike Evans, nope. Chris Godwin, nope. Leonard Fournette, nope. CJ Bray, nope. Scotty Miller, no. Oh, all right. Why don't we throw that post to Julio? Like, there's just it's a multitude.
How many wide receivers do you predict him lining up with on a given play? I'm just out of curiosity, because he's going to need an offensive line.
There's a running back and a tight end. I think the ceiling for them is possibly 14 wins. However, I this whole preseason thing has been really weird to me, so I don't know what to make of all that. But it's Tom fucking Brady, so I don't think any of that really matters. I think it's possible they win 14 games. I'm comfortable with that 12 because I cover this for that.
Perfect.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I personally didn't make much of that, the Tom Brady stuff. I feel like he's like, I don't need to be there for that. It's fine. That's kind of I get off it. But for me, but like whatever.
Rumors he's on The Masked Singer.
Yeah, I'm sure there's rumors like of like flying left and right. Fucking Giselle is sick and like all this different stuff. Like whatever. Fair assessment of the Saints. I feel like if they were going to be good, Sean Payton wouldn't have looked at it and been like, because he is on record saying he's going to be an NFL head coach again. Like, it's not like he's done. So
he's going to Dallas.
Yeah, well, I mean, that'd be great for Bobby, honestly. Like, we'd have to re-record this show, or at least a segment of it. All right, Joe, you had some heated thoughts that were bubbling up over the surface there. What do you got to say about those records?
I don't think the Saints are going to be as bad as you have them. I mean, and I'm not going to make a case for Jameis Winston, Dave. This isn't my normal take a mediocre quarterback and make him look great.
But you're Jared Stidham.
You're really good at that.
Yeah, right. Very good. Yeah. During the Hall of Fame game, Jared Stidham throws one good ball, and I'm like, oh, this guy can play. No, but hey, guys, listen, I'm with you on the Buccaneers. I think you're spot on. It's amazing how Tom Brady spent 20 years in a Patriots uniform, and every other team around him was bad except for the Jets for those 2 years when they beat him in the playoffs. But every team in this division has gotten worse since Tom Brady got to Tampa. And it's like, do you guys not understand how this game works? Like, you don't just fold to this guy. So winning follows Tom Brady. So whatever he was doing in this time away, he's going to be fine. And that team is loaded. They also brought in Kyle Rudolph, which was a good signing for them. So I'm with you on the Falcons too, putting the 2 pieces of bread for the sandwich. I was looking at their roster and I was like, no, they won't be that bad. They're going to be
They're bad. It's a really bad roster.
And you know what? I think Kyle Pitts is going to have an outstanding season, and that's it. Like
They're
that,
going to have to because Calvin Ridley's gone because he placed the bet.
bingo. Which is but you can't never.
Sure, it'll come up when it's the Colts. I mean, just how good is Matt Ryan if he was holding that fucking Frankenstein monster together for as long as he was? Maybe the fresh start.
Just you wait. Buddy.
For the Panthers, I think, you know, if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, it's not a bad football team. But I mean, I made a case earlier for Baker Mayfield. So I don't think they're in as much trouble as you guys may think. But I think you're low on the Saints because I think everyone else around him is going to make Jameis Winston look better because they still have Alvin Kamara. They still have some pieces there.
No, go ahead, Joe. Name one more.
Thomas is still there. He's still there.
Yeah, no, he's there, but he's hurt.
I just agree. He'll make some.
And Chris Olave too.
Yeah, I mean,
I forgot to go Olave.
Oh, Joe, you look different.
Football player, a good football player. So we'll see how well that goes. But I think you guys are low on that. But I mean, we obviously know who's going to win and who's going to lose that division.
Ray, any thoughts on that division before we move on to your final AFC?
Yeah, Mike makes me sick. No, but no, I think that Tampa Bay is going to be the cream of the crop as we know. I actually think they can win maybe even 13, maybe even 14 games if they catch fire.
Yeah.
And then the second best. To me, I think they have this division wrapped up by November. That's how I feel. I just don't think the other.
They have a sneaky schedule though. It's sneaky tough. Like
that's really, week one, man.
Week one. We've seen the variables. We've seen times when 12 has been and had a sneaky tough schedule, and they come out there and win 35-20. Like it just doesn't matter when he's on and locked in. Like it just doesn't matter. I'm sorry. Like it's not going to matter. So, but sure, like I say, of course, everyone's going to throw the kitchen sink at them because, everyone wants to make a name against Tom Brady as they should. But a lot of people have came at the king and a lot of people have missed. So, just saying.
You got the GOAT in his prime. Man.
Yeah.
His prime is 44.
45 years old and still slinging that rock. Crazy.
That's real, man.
Sweet. Cool. That was a good assessment. I think it's pretty clear that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win that division. If we said anything else, we probably shouldn't be doing a sports podcast. So moving on to the final AFC division, which I am glad actually we left this one for last because I think there is some good talking points about these teams. There's some sneaky good teams. I think the Colts and I think the Titans. There might be a little bit to talk about here. So, what do you guys think? The AFC South for your grand finale. Do the up and down.
So we have Colts first. As I pull it up, I don't know if you ever read in front of you, Joe. So I don't want to.
I do.
Say it too long.
You got the Colts, the Titans, the Jaguars, and the Texans.
Yeah, I'll get the records. But yeah, I got you.
The Texans might be the worst. They might have the worst season of any team ever.
Yeah,
this upcoming season.
I said that. 32 in the power rankings. 30.
Right, exactly. So Houston going 4-13, Jacksonville going 6-11. Tennessee going 10-7, and then Indy going 12-5. And I'll just keep going into my thoughts about that. So, listen, Jonathan Taylor. People know how I feel about Derrick Henry, but listen, Jonathan Taylor is a man. He's a man, and we found out real quick in the New England game when they were making their comeback in the fourth quarter, and let's just drop it off to 28, and he just runs right back to the end zone. Indianapolis just has, I don't know, they find a way to get great running backs over there. And I know Eric Dickerson wasn't the guy he was when he got there, but from between Dickerson, then you draft Marshall Faulk, then you get Edgerrin James, the Dominic Rose, then you get, and obviously now, what you get with Jonathan Taylor, like they just have a list of, great running backs that have come through there. So they just find a way. But yeah, Tennessee only, and mainly because I just don't trust, I don't trust Tannehill personally. Like I don't think that he's someone that's gonna do. So how you guys feel about Kirk Cousins is how I feel about Tannehill.
They're the same fucking guy.
Yeah, exactly. But I take, like I said, I don't know. I'll take Cousins over him personally. But yeah, I can see
hairs.
Comparison is the what a comparison is that between them two. But to me, I'm not banking on Tannehill to do much. And then obviously, it's not sustainable to have Derrick Henry have 380 carries. Like that's insane. But yeah, we'll see what the receiving core does. Obviously, they lost AJ Brown. I know they brought in, they drafted a rookie that's supposed to be similar to AJ Brown, but at the same time, it's like, well, AJ Brown was already proven in his first few years, so we're gonna see. But like I said, Indianapolis definitely has that. I mean, Jacksonville 6 wins could be a stretch, but like I said, I know Joe had to start over that, so I'll let him take over.
Well, I was going to go back. You can finish your last two teams because I was going to go back up to Indy.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so yeah, so with Jacksonville, like I said, that's 6-11. Like I said, I think they may be even worse than that, honestly. But like I said, we just chose to split the difference there.
That'll be the last time we talk about the Jaguars for the
for sure. Unless Trevor Lawrence goes bananas, which is possible, but I don't envision that right now. And then like I say Houston, we're like need. Yes, and this is definitely pun intended.
Just want to call it back to Bobby's thing about to go from being 3 touchdowns up on the Kansas City Chiefs to how quickly they got here is honestly impressive. It's impressive how fucking badly that franchise fell apart. It's bananas.
When they're when people rather go to the Turkey Lake Hut out there as opposed to Reliance Stadium, whatever it's called, Energy Stadium, whatever it's called now, it's a problem.
Yeah,
like they're just not. From the days of Andre Johnson, obviously you got guys like JJ Watt, like you had all this talent there, and all of a sudden, they just kind of
all those guys are somewhere else now for
They had
that down. So
Hopkins, Fuller, Watson, Watt, Clowney.
Fuller wasn't their fault though. That dude is built out of glass and
well, yeah, I know,
yeah,
but it just adds to the point.
Yeah, no.
I mean, he's a Notre Dame guy. That's why he got put up there. But I get it. No, Fuller was nice. He was nice. But yeah, let's say they blow, and they just won't be much to talk about at all this year. So turn it over to you, Joe.
This Indianapolis Colts team is going to be really good. I think everybody knows how I feel about Frank Reich. I think Frank Reich is a very good NFL coach. He's now got Matt Ryan, who's been around the block. He's an average quarterback at best. But
that's harsh.
A quarterback who's been around.
Former MVP.
You
mean now, like in his old age, or do you mean
right now?
Okay,
right now.
yeah.
I mean right now. I mean he was definitely above average. And I mean I love Matt Ryan. He's a BC guy. He's had a great career.
You love Matt Ryan like Matt Ryan likes losing championship games.
Basically, yeah. Yes.
From BC right on through.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So I mean, it's so interesting, that quarterback room, because they still have Nick Foles, but they have Matt Ryan. I mean, they have Jonathan Taylor. Naheem Hines is still there as a backup there. They have the best offensive lineman in the NFL in Quentin Nelson. They have a lot to build around there, and they have good, speedy wide receivers. And I think they can make it work, and that defense is really good. Next, who did we have?
Tennessee next. Yeah.
I mean, Tennessee, a good head coach. They got a good head coach. Ryan Tannehill is still, he's above average still at this point. But he'd lost a lot of weapons. I think Jacksonville is. I had Jacksonville at 7-10. We met in the middle. Ray had him at 5-12. I had him at 7-10. I think Doug Peterson is going to be able to resurrect his coaching career here in Jacksonville. I think that he's going to make Trevor Lawrence better. It's just such a terrible organization. Like, I can't say much more than that. And then Houston, excuse me, with
so yeah, I get choked up too talking about this Dawson.
I was about to say Daniel Snyder's name, so
yeah, exactly.
you know, besides Daniel Snyder, what's his face, Cal McNair, whatever his name is down there in Houston, he's the worst owner in football for many reasons. And he's allowed things to happen in that organization that are just putrid on and off the field, personnel wise, in the front office. So I wish the worst.
I mean,
for the Texans.
I mean, let's just remember Robert Kraft allowed Aaron Hernandez to kill somebody. Okay, so like, I mean, yeah, it's bad.
What's that like? The paper, Mike?
Jesus.
I mean, well, Cal McNair
Aaron called him like, hey,
Cal McNair is an actual racist. I wasn't talking about what
apples and oranges there.
I'm talking about the fact that he's an actual racist. He allowed Bill O'Brien to trade one of the best receivers of our generation. It has nothing to do with Deshaun Watson. That's secondary. But if you can produce the document that said with
I'm just saying, like, let's just get on to
it's like Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft is fucking Aaron Hernandez.
Let's get off the that's not where I was.
Send the goddamn play.
I should have fucking known. I should have known, but I'm like, that's not where I thought you were gonna go when it came to Robert Kraft.
I know.
Yeah, so that's fucking wild.
Disclaimer: Robert Kraft, to our knowledge, does not put out hits.
Right. Send the wolf, goddamn it.
Yeah, that's wow.
All right, I think we can move over to the reactions now. I just had to sort of clear my head on that one. Mike accusing Robert Kraft of being a contract killer,
you know.
But he's M from James.
Not
Bond.
a sponsor.
You're licensed to kill, Aaron Hernandez. Yeah. Do you guys have any reactions to that other than like slanderous, murder accusations?
I'll just say this: I don't put much stock in any team that Matt Ryan is the quarterback of. I do think that the Houston Texans will be the third best team in the AFC South. They cleaned up in the draft with Derek Stingley, Kenyon Green, was it Jaylen Petrie, and then John Mechie. Like they drafted really, really well.
Mechie isn't going to play.
They'll play. Do you know that he's not going to play? Yeah, I would just say that Davis Mills isn't as bad as people think that he is. I think he was the 11th or 10th ranked quarterback in all fantasy leagues last year and that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I think I think Jacksonville sucks. I think they bet their entire season on Christian Kirk, and that is a terrible wager to make. So that would be
they bet their whole franchise on Trevor Lawrence. I mean,
yeah, but their big move was overpaying for a number 3.
Yeah.
Mike, I say this with all love and respect. The last 5 minutes of you speaking might be the most blasphemous things I've ever heard you say on a show with me in the history of.
You weren't on his "I Hate Jesus" podcast because that got pretty blasphemous in the most literal sense. Bobby, what do you got?
The last 5 minutes of this podcast have just been insane. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on the Colts. I like Matt Ryan, especially when you're improving from Carson Wentz. I think even the backup quarterback has been proven is better than Carson Wentz. Has carried. Well, I guess Carson Wentz is good that year. But anyways, I have an alternate universe too, where I think it's hilarious if Carson Wentz somehow stayed in Indianapolis and they brought in Nick Foles to back him up again. Hilarious. Yeah. Other than that, I just think Tennessee did take a big step back. I really do. I love Derrick Henry. He brought my dynasty championship to me. He's awesome. I love him. Okay. But coming off an injury and now they're going to have to rely on him even more or take away from your passing attack after he just had that foot injury. It doesn't add up to me. The only thing that saves them to me is Vrabel. Yeah, that's really why I think they'll still be okay. But it's tough to take away from a passing attack with the running back who just had a Liz Frank injury. It just doesn't add up to me.
Also, just to clarify, Joe was right. John Mechie's not going to play this year.
He'll play.
Please save that on.
Yeah. I mean, it's not.
No, it was great. Good. I mean, look, we did it. It was a marathon. It's a lot of teams to talk about, and it's a lot of stuff to know about a lot of different teams. I'm really proud of all you guys. You guys all did a great job. I actually have parting gifts for everybody. Wow. Mike, here's your tinfoil hat for your Robert Kraft. It signed off on the hit on the guy that Aaron Hernandez killed. Bobby, here's a recording of your last 2 prediction shows, talking about how the Cowboys are going to win a ton, and you've really come so far. I'm really so proud of you. Joe, here's your Jarrett Stidham jersey. Well done on defending all the mediocre quarterbacks that came up in conversation today. And finally, Ray, here's your signed Sierra poster for your wall, just to make sure that you continue to be the top of the Russell Wilson fan club. Guys, amazing work. As always, loved it. Loved being here. It always goes by in a second when I'm talking to you guys about football. Really enjoyed it. And the only thing to do now is watch the season and see how it unfolds. May the best team win. And I really do hope we make it 2-1 because these two are just going to be fucking insufferable if they go 3-0.
They already are.
For all of us here on Missing the Point on the 617, thank you so much for listening. Have a great night. Craig, we're done, Craig.
Craig fell asleep.
Hey, Craig's out.
Craig.
That was awesome.
Craig's taking another COVID test.
Don Mechie's not playing. You don't know that. Well, Mike, he has leukemia, so he's probably not going to play this year.
Does he actually have
I didn't want to.
Oh, fuck, no. Yeah. I shouldn't laugh, but holy shit, really? Mike's like, he'll play.
He'll play.
Joe's like, he's got late stage Lou Gehrig.
Treatment on Saturday, lining it up on Sunday, baby. Let's go.
He'll get new blood.